Hi, so my name is Madison, and today I wanted to talk about advertising to children and just kind of dive in deeper to some pros and cons with this topic. Is it ethical, unethical? Just some of the reasoning, some of the things that I've learned along the way, and I wanted to bring that together. So overall, looking at it from a broad point of view, children are a very attractive market. They make up almost a quarter of our population, and they range from ages, 1 to 18. So they make up a big chunk of our market, and so that's really important for advertisers, and it's really important for something to discuss because it is so controversial. Everyone has different parenting styles, different teaching styles. Everyone has different viewpoints and diverse opinions on, children. So I wanted to kind of dive in deeper. So some of the pros about advertising to children and why it could be considered ethical in a sense is that children are clean slates for advertisers. Well, that's at least why they are attracted to marketers, because they are clean slates. They can become brand loyal at such a young age because they are fresh and open-minded. They don't have much of an idea on spending. Take your average 15-year-old to your average 25-year-old, they're going to have some different ideas about buying products. They're going to have different experiences and things like that. So obviously there's a big difference there. And so diving deeper into that, we talk about cognitive ability. So cognitive ability research shows that children are starting to become more developed at younger ages. So there's been many studies of this, but one of the examples I have here is that children at 3 can distinguish a commercial from an entertainment program, and kids as young as 6 can understand persuasive intent, which basically means that children around the age of 3 can kind of understand when they're watching a show on Disney Channel. They know when the show's over and then when some weird ad is coming to play. They may not necessarily know it's called an ad, but they know that the show's over for some time. So they grab a snack, do whatever they want. And then at age 6, they understand the persuasive intent behind an ad. So they actually understand what the ad is, what it means. They understand that someone is trying to sell them something. So overall, they're being exposed at a much younger age, and they're starting to have a better detection for the future of advertisements. So one of the reasons overall why it is a pro to advertise to children is because they're having a better understanding of ads at a younger age, not just because it's attractive to marketers. And then another reason why it can be seen as ethical to advertise to children is because of the regulations in play. So the CARU, the Children's Ad Review Unit, forwards complaints already to the FTC, and they regulate some of the advertising going on to play. FTC makes sure not to show any false or misleading ads, anything like that. So already these ads are being regulated. And then there's also self-regulation that comes into play. So bringing back to Disney Channel, Disney Channel will not accept certain products that don't fit into their regulations. So if it doesn't, say for example, a cereal is considered too sugary, they won't advertise it on their channel because they know a younger audience is going to view it and may want to buy that sugary, unhealthy cereal. So that's some example of self-regulation. There's also regulation within the home with the parent. So the parents can determine what they want their kids seeing. They don't have to buy them a TV. They don't have to buy them a tablet. They don't have to do all these things for their kids if they don't want to. They can block certain sites if they do give them a tablet, or they can turn off the TV whenever they want. They have that power over their child. So there's regulation in the home. There's regulation, at the federal level. So overall, that's kind of the pros of advertising to children. And then looking at the cons and why it can be seen as unethical is, again, children are vulnerable consumers. That's why they are so attractive to marketers and advertisers, because they are vulnerable. They are fresh, clean slates. They don't have much exposure with other ads and other products. So they are more trusting and more willing to be brand loyal. And so that is kind of an important factor to think of. And then also, they start to become very brand preference at a young age. And that can be seen as unethical because you're already smashing all these ideas in children's heads about what they should be. Gender roles come into play here as well. How you view yourself is been very receptive to these advertisements. And we see that with all of our generations. We've done studies about gender stereotypes and how they're viewed in ads and how they are affected to the population. So, I have my own example of this. One of my cousins, she wants to buy a Gucci backpack, and she's only, 7, 8 years old, and she wants to buy a designer handbag. That's just a little example right there. But, overall, looking at it as a whole, there are definitely pros and cons to advertising to children. It definitely depends on the perspective looking at it, but overall, there are regulations coming into play. So it's not necessarily an awful thing to have advertising to children, but it's not necessarily a good thing either, because these consumers are vulnerable.